Hi everyone and welcome to the video I Lived Here. What I've done is gone around the homes where my family has once lived, taken some of our old family pictures, laminated them, and I'm going to give it to the people who currently live in the house that my family lived in decades ago. When I met the owner of the house, they had been told that the house was built in the 1950s. They were surprised that I had pictures of the house from the 1940s and even back to the 1930s. It was much older than they thought. They also did not know that it was once a small store, a groceteria, if you will. These were the small family stores in many old neighborhoods that supplied all the groceries before the big stores were opening up. When I showed the homeowner the picture of the house, what it looked like back in the 1940s and 50s, they were amazed. They had no idea that it was once a store. The pictures are timeless, old black and white pictures of a bygone era. Included in the assortment of pictures are images of my dad as a teenager selling Christmas trees in front of that store. 70 years later, I took a picture of my dad holding a Christmas tree in front of the current day house. The homeowner absolutely loved it. The current homeowner was really excited to see these pictures laminated and presented to him. He couldn't believe the stories and the history of the house that he currently resides in, a house where my dad and my grandfather once lived. Back in the 70s and 80s, I lived here. It was a farm. It was a sod farm. Well, the town of Elora has grown around it, and now the place that I used to live is now inside a town. I'm going to go over, hand over some pictures of the house as it was when I lived in it to the current owners and tell them I lived here. This classic 1800s stone farmhouse has sure stood the test of time. What a superbly built home. Super strong 3-foot walls. But the stories within those walls are incredible, and I only fill a short gap in the centuries within that house. My family lived here in the 1970s when we had sod farms. To see it now is really something, surrounded by homes, because when I lived there, it was a sod farm. And showing the homeowner the pictures of what it was like when I was there in the 70s and 80s sure opened their eyes. They had heard it was once a sod farm, but had no pictures from that era. So to see pictures of what the house looked like with all the area around it, and also to see the pictures of my family inside celebrating Christmas dinners, family functions, was a real warm moment for us to share. The homeowner was very pleased to see the pictures laminated and presented to them in the house that they now live in, a house where I once lived. And now we're out in the countryside. This is where my wife lived when I met her back in 1979. This is out in the countryside of Bellwood. This is the home that her dad built back in 1975. I've got pictures of it being built, and I'm going to drop them off for their current homeowner. This log house is a really unique structure. It was the idea of my father-in-law. They went up to the Ottawa Valley, found 2 log homes along with a contractor, had them dismantled, brought back to Bellwood, and then reconstructed with a modern infill in the middle to build this incredible log house. When it was all completed, it became a great family home on a huge lot that created a lot of great family memories for my wife's family. As you can see by the old pictures from 1975, it was quite the undertaking to start from scratch to build the foundation, then add the 2 log homes, and then build the center pieces. In follow-up conversations with the homeowner, they invited us back later to check out the home and see the changes that they made since my wife lived there in the 70s and 80s. It was really neat to show them pictures of what it was like when my wife lived there. I hope you can do the same. Drop off some pictures. Get them laminated, drop them off to a house that you once lived in so the people who live there know who also once lived in their house.